Sandy Alex G's improvement this past decade has been a gradual uphill slope. He's always been a stickler to concise tunes with a toasty folk twang, and if nothing else, all his output is easy on the ears, and his vocal cadence is soul-melting, but I would not argue if you were to point out that his early work lacked a unique twist, was too constantly skeletal to really impress, and was lyrically drab. But only recently has he landed on ways to attach a stronger identity to it and sell it. With every release of his, he's had more and more to say in his lyrics. He's implemented more imagery and refreshing song topics, like for example, Powerful Man and County off of Rocket told a few crushing anecdotes that soberingly felt pulled from your average town, and crucially he's added more meat to the bones of his instrumental arrangements and infused styles such as Americana, alt-country, indie pop, even an outright digital edge. And while these tools of trade have been arbitrarily scattered into parts of his past records, House of Sugar ties together all those loose ends and is his most focused, thickest collision of them all. Its vocal layering and guests almost allude to the effect of an orchestra or a choir. It's overwhelming and emotionally maximal. Also, considering my favorite track he'd ever done was Sports Star, I'm thrilled to see he's incorporating more pitched and auto-tuned vocals. It balances his sound like rain over the warm fireside crackle of acoustics. He's never covered by electronics, rather they amp him up with more of a fluff, a gloss. This production goes down as sweet as liquid candy, a strawberry smoothie, a warm cup of tea. Even in bleak centerpieces of the record like Hope, where Alex is focused on telling the story of his friend overdosing on fentanyl, this has one of the more straightforward sound palettes, but it brings a spirited, fiery kick and a lot of humanity. And from my perspective, the way this tragedy shaped his thought process is shown on the following two cuts, Gretel and Southern Sky. These are like the record's only self-assured, freeing moments. They illustrate him putting his foot down and treasuring his day-to-day life, despite the darkness that'll inevitably befall his heart. Southern Sky pushes this by drowning you in bittersweet strings and vocal harmonies. It takes on the clearest traditionalist Americana angle on the record, and it's just as comforting that it's realistic and honest, yet still able to come out the other side hopeful. It's like looking up at a stormy sky in a barnyard and enjoying a homey slice of apple pie at the same time. This track and Gretel both have shiningly intricate arrangements too, but that track's weeping ambiance and wobbly melodies pretty much drive it. My favorite touch in it is the chorus pulling everything back to reveal the raw emotion in his voice, then instrumental layers gradually being recoded until it's thrust back into a maximalist pool. This track is also the first to suggest addictive tendencies and context of A House of Sugar, which I interpret as a lover's space in his life. It spirals down a desperate, destructive path from here. Walk Away, Taking and Near are the most directly stated on the matter and are soaked in passion. They're compositionally stationary, but their swirling instrumentation strikes you in a flash. It's like being swept up by a wind current, then thrown back down. Walk Away sees Alex trying to collect the strength to leave this person, but being unable and staying in this limbo. Its reversed loops and drums have a succulent punch and feel like an inescapable weight over the meek melodies and recklessly flawed vocals. It's actually incredible to my ears how ideal the levels are in these cuts. There's just such a sea of things to keep straight at once. Taking is anticipatory as if he's acknowledging that everything's on the line. Its icy vocal sprinkles seem to carry this weight. Yet even more melodramatic are Sugar and In My Arms, the former of which uses grimy, deformed vocals and knotty strings that creak as if they're on the edge of breaking. It's like it's forcing a rock into your stomach, pulling your bones down to the floor. In My Arms is decidedly grief-stricken and initiates a 4-track run where the album's instrumentally put to rest in a more bare-bones approach. Its writing seems to acknowledge that the relationship's headed to combust, as if he's already mourning their time spent together and that the drug of infatuation is forever temporary, or rather the crimes he's committed, the ideal life he can't live. The closer is a live recording that evokes an in-the-moment intensity and works with its uncut quality in doing so. It's like you're hearing it in a small venue in a neighborhood, yet lacks no heart the most professional, polished music would have. There's no real resolution to the album's story, emotions just left up in the air, as it often is in life. This album is such a lovable little piece. It really swayed me. Alex G selling the little eccentricities that make him who he is as an artist definitely calls for celebration in my book, and hopefully more people catch on to this wave, because it's one for the big hearts in the late hours of the night at a digestible 38-minute runtime. So I'm feeling like an 8 on this one. Check out this record if you haven't already. I hope you enjoyed my review, and I'll see you next week.